Welcome to Everything and Anything, the channel that helps you with everything and anything. Today, I'm going to show you how to create a habit tracker on Excel. So we're just going to open Excel right now. Then the first tab, what we're going to create is we're going to create a name. We're going to call it goals. We're going to talk about the different goals that we have. So on this one, what I want mainly is I want to be able to see what we have as goal for daily, weekly, and monthly goals. Once I have that, I want to number and name all of those. So for example, in this one, I want to drink 2 liters of water. We want to go to the gym. Now that we have all of our goals, I'm going to number them. So I'm just going to add a number in front of all of them. You can just bring everything down right here, or you can add an equation quickly where you do the one before plus 1, and then you bring it down so you have it happening all the time. And then we can do the same with the rest, where we can just copy paste all of the numbers on each side. You can add as many as you wish. I do believe that you need to be careful with just a number that you have. It needs to still be realistic. To make it a little bit prettier, so I'm just going to put this in dark blue. So here, and then I'm just going to write the letters, so the theme color to be white, and then I'm just going to use here's a brush and do exactly the same for all the numbers. You can do this before copy pasting, and that will let you copy paste absolutely everything. So we're going to do that here, but I'm also going to use this kind of a theme for the titles, so for the daily, weekly, monthly. Then I'm just going to change the name, so the type, the way it's written, so the font. You're going to see you have a lot of different font. Here my Excel is being a bit slow, as you can see. So I'm just going to click on it, and then I'm going to choose Academy Engraved, just because I think it's a nicer font. However, feel free to choose whatever you wish, and then I'm going to select just all of the blue, and again write down this. So let's make this a little bit bigger. We select then absolutely everything, double click on the column as you have seen on other video from myself, and then we just have it all. You can make it a little bit nicer even by adding blue on the lower part and on one of the sides to make it looking pretty. What we're just going to do on this, we are going to adjust the view, where we're going to take off the headings, the grid line, and the formula bar, just to make sure that we absolutely have only the goals. Feel free to change the goals. We're not going to keep them always the same, the way they are. They can be changed as you wish, but again, remember that they need to be achievable. Now I'm going to show you how to create your habit tracker. So for the habit tracker, we're first going to create a new tab. Once this is done, we're going to rename it, and we're going to call it with the first month that you want to create your habit tracker for. So here we decided that it's going to be January. The first part that we're going to create is going to be the daily task. So I'm just going to write it down. Let me make this a bit bigger so we can all look at it. So I'm just going to create the daily first. I want this to be for January. I want this to be for all the weeks in January. I want to be able to see the months, and I want to be able to see the days. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just next to daily, I want to have the month. So I'm going to write it down, January 2023. I want to be able to see the week. We're going to write week 1. I want to be able to see the day, and I want this first cell to be the first of that month. So how I'm going to do that is, as you can see here, we have the blank cell where we want it to be the day. So I'm just going to select here. I want all of those 4 to be links. So this one, I'm going to add the formula bar so you're able to see the view. So on this, you can see that January 2023, even though it's written as January 2023, is giving in the formula the first of the month. So I'm going to link the day where I want to see my first of the month. And then you're going to see here, we have where we wanted the day to be. So here I'm going to change the way it's written. So how do I do that? I go into Home, I'm going to go to custom here, which normally you will have general or date, and then we're going to do more formulas. Once we have that here, you're going to see that you're going to go into custom. You can select the one just above. The importance for you is to be able to see DD 2 times, because it's going to give you the number of that day. And here we have the first. Here, if you remember, we want to see the day. So if it's a Monday, if it's a Sunday. So what I'm going to do again is I'm going to go into the custom, more number format, and then again, custom. And then in this time, instead of having DD, as we've had before, you're going to add 1. You can add more if you want to have the full day written, but I want to just have the first letters to understand exactly which day it is. And then here we are. So here now we have week 1, Sunday on the 1st, and then from the month. So obviously we know that we're going to have more days. So what we're going to do is we're literally just going to do equal, going back to the cell before, plus 1. And then you can bring it until the number of days that you need. So here you can see we have 31 days in January, obviously. And then we have the one for the month of February, which we don't want, so we can just make it smaller. What we're going to do is we're going to go back to the left, select here the square in between A and 1, and then we're going to double click on each of the column. It's going to resize everything based on what it has in. What we're going to do then is we're going to select the way C4, which is a cell where we have a day of the week. We can see in the formula that it is equal to C5, which is the day number. So I'm just going to select here with a little cross and extend until the end. Again, double click on A1, double click on one side of the column, and then you're going to see all of the weeks. It's easy to say that the week needs to be 7 days no matter what. So what we're going to do is we're just going to select and merge in center. And then I'm just going to extend it until the end. You're going to see that sometimes it takes a little bit more. So as you can see here, for example, the 4th week ends on the Saturday 28. We still have 3 days, which instead of having something called week 5, we're just going to unselect this. We're just going to unmerge. We're going to select the next 3 days here, bring it together, and we can call them extra days. And this could be like your days where you want to make sure that your month is at a good level of completion. I'll show you later exactly what I mean by that. What we're going to do then is we're going to take the month, we're going to go until the end, and again, you merge and center. Something which could be interesting is, although we are able to see all of the day and the number of the day, something that I want to know is exactly where I am. So what we're going to do here is we're going to have the date of today. What do I mean by that? Is not the day of today when you are actually creating this habit tracker, but the day of whenever you're going to open this habit tracker to update it. So here we're going to have an equation which is equal today, open the parenthesis, close the parenthesis, then enter. Once you have that, you have all of the base. So what do we want then is we want on the daily to see all of the habits that we decide to go for. If you recall correctly, you already wrote your habits in the goals tab. So what we're going to do is we're literally going to click on your keyboard on equal, then you go into goals, and then you select your first goal. You make sure that there is no $sign in each side of the lines or the column. If no, it will block this one. What we want to is we want to be able to extend this and have all of the other goals coming through. So then as you can see, we have all of the goals, and then you have some 0. You can take them off, or you can have an equation saying if it's equal to 0, then you want it to show nothing, or you want it to show blank, or if it's equal to the actual goal, then it leaves it like this. What we're going to do here, we're just going to delete them. So here we have all of our goals, and we have all of the day of the month. So the goal now is going to create the crosses. So what I want to do is I want to be able to select in this cell and say if I did it or not. For that, it's going to be actually quite simple. We're going to create, we're going to go into data, and we're going to create, as you can see right here, a data validation. It's going to be a list. So you select list, and then source. We don't really have any source, but we can create one. So what we're going to do is we're going to select here. We're going to go back to goals and let's select just 2 cells randomly. So here, M3 and M4. And then we can do OK. We're going to go back then into goals. We're going to go back to M3 and 4. So for that, you're going to go back into your view and add your gridland and heading. And then you go into M3 and then we're going to create a cross and then create nothing on the other one. And then we're going to hide this column because it's not the prettiest thing to see. So you can just hide it and then you can take off everything. I'm going to keep the formulas here. Here now you're able to select a cross or no cross. What we're going to do then is we're going to extend this until your last day of the month. And then you're going to extend it lower. So then wherever we click within that section, we can click on the data validation. Let's make quickly, I'm going to quickly make it prettier. Again, just formatting, so some blues and then some blue and some, I will show you other type of formatting for the X, and then we can go into the completion. So now we have created, now we're formatting it, so we are able to see absolutely everything. Just wanted to quickly show you. So if I go into one cell and then I select the X, it's coming into a color. To do that, you just have to go into your conditional formatting. You select all of the cells that you want to be impacted, and then you can highlight the cells which are equal to, and then you can write X. Obviously here we've already done it, so I'm not going to do it a second time. But again, as you can see, if I put X, it's beginning to be blue. But if I don't put any X, it's just saying as white. So now we're going to create 3 little lines because we want to understand how good we are doing within our week or within a day. So we want to see what has been completed, what is incomplete, and then we want to see the percentage of completion. Now that I have that, we're going to create a calculation that is reading if there is anything. So if there is an X, we count it. If it's as complete, if no, we count it as incomplete. So for this equation, it's actually quite a simple equation. We're going to do equal count if. Again, I will show you, I will put here, you have a link coming up if you want to understand a little bit more about some data analysis calculations such as COUNTIF, THUMIF, or other of those equations. Here we have COUNTIF. We want to COUNTIF all of those cells. And then the criteria will be if it's equal. So we open quotation mark, equal, close quotation mark. We put the end. Most of the Excel version will ask you to have this type of formatting. However, sometimes you don't need it. And then we want to go back to the cell that we had in goals and then make it equal to the X. So the cells where we had X. So if you recall, we had it as goals, and then you put parenthesis, point, exclamation point, and then we don't want this to move, so we're going to put a $, M, $, and then the column, the cell 3. And then we can close the parenthesis. So here we have 0. How to verify? You just turn 1 into an X, and then you see it turns into 1. Another way, instead, if you don't want to write it down, you can just go back to goals and hide the M column and then play around with this. So again, I show you, you're going to do 3 here. So now that we have the complete equation, it's going to be interesting to look at the incomplete equation. So you can do everything, count everything, and then -3. Or here what we're going to do is we're going to literally copy paste this equation. So you're going to click into the C14, select your whole equation, Control C, go back into the incomplete, Control V, and then instead of M3, we want M4, and then equal. So here you know that out of all of those, out of those 7, 4 are incomplete and 3 are complete. Again, if you continue to complete during your day, you're going to see things moving around. Now that we have that, we want to know the percentage of completion. So how we're going to do that is we're going to go into the cell just after percentage of completion, equal. So we want to know when complete divided by the open parenthesis, the complete plus the incomplete, close parenthesis. And then this, we make it a percentage. What is interesting is if we continue to complete, our completion goes from 57 to 71. and then upper if we continue, 86, and then 100 if we have absolutely everything completed. Again, if we decide that we haven't completed everything, we just can go lower. Obviously, right now, I'm also clicking on the data validation. You don't always have to do that. You can literally just go with your keyboard and just delete everything. And then you're able to have, you're able to see completion. So here, for example, if I just want to type X on my keyboard, it will still take it as an X. So now that we have that, because we've put a $sign in front of the M and in front of the 3, or in front of the M and the 4, but then the first range is not with $sign, we're going to be able to just drag it until the end, and then we're going to have the result for all of them. So again, as you can see, where I put just an X somewhere, we have a 1, and then we have 14%. Once this is done, we want to know the mood rating. So I'm just going to add this quickly here, and we're going to do exactly the same again as what we've done for the list. So you're going to select here, the cell next to it, again, data validation. We're going to do a list, and then you can do different things. You can have a source, or we can literally type the numbers. So here we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then 10. Let me just put the comma correctly here. Oops. Once this is done, we can just type on OK. And then as you can see here, you will be able to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So again, we don't have to always select some cells. We can just also type it and make sure that there is a comma in between the numbers. What I'm going to do is I'm going to extend this. And then I'm going to write a number everywhere. So here we're going to do 1, here we're going to do 5, here we're going to do 8, then 2, then 6, and then 8, and then 9, and then 2. Why do I want to do that? Is just because I want to format it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select everything from the first cell to the last cell that we would expect. I'm going to go into conditional formatting. And then what we're going to do is, instead of highlighting the cells and rows, we're going to have a color scale of warm to cold. So again, from red to green. So here we're able to see the better days in green and the worst day in red. Once we have done that, I'm also going to format my percentage of completion. So what I'm going to do is I want this to be only green if I'm better than 50%. This is my goal. I just want to do at least 50% of the task. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be greater than. And then here you have the style, which is a classic style. Only format cell that contains cell value greater than 50%. So again, you type 50%. And then instead of being red, for me, I want it to be green and with a dark green text. Tap OK. Again, we don't have any 50%. But if we add an X here, we can begin to see 50%. I'm going to do another one here. Again, 50%. And then again, as you can see here, when I'm going to click on enter, we're going to go from 43 to 57 and it turns green. Once we have that, we have created all of our daily task. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to quickly format it, and then we're going to go into the weekly task. Now that we have formatted absolutely everything, we can see that we have our first week, we have our goals with our daily goals. We know what is complete and incomplete. You can hide those if you prefer, just to be able to see the percentage of completion. You can even make it closer. And then we have the mood rating. Now let's work on the weekly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start as I did before. So I'm just going to type weekly. We want to have still the months in front. I think I like the format in which this is. So what I'm going to do is I'm literally just going to copy this one. So Control C, go into next to the cell where I wrote weekly, and Control V. So then I can see again the month. Weekly is a bit different because we have the weekly target. So I'm going to select all of my week again, just because this is exactly the same format as I want. Control C, and then I'm going to write it here, Control V. So we have again the month and all of our weeks. Daily, we have the task just under our daily title. However, for weekly, it's a bit different because weekly we have repetitive task, but I don't want to have a cross in the middle. I think it's a bit ugly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave one cell clear when I'm just under week 1. And then the next few cells, I'm just going to take them together and then merge and center. I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to bring it down for, let's do that much here. What I'm going to do then is I'm going to do equal, go back to my goals, and then click on laundry, make sure that there is no $sign, and then click on enter. Once this is done, I'm just going to bring it down. Oops, I'm just going to bring it down. As you can see here, we have 0. You can leave it or take it off. I just take it off. What we're going to do then is we're literally going to select this, and we're going to Control C and Control V everywhere for each of the week. Again, you leave always a cell just before. Wait until you do the extra because I'll explain to you how to do that. There is 2 things you can do here. For each one, you can go back in and click on equal and go back to goals, or you can just select the first week, and then you want all of the weeks to follow each other. So here, this is what I'm going to do. So each week follow each other, and then for the extra day, you just select the 2 cells left, merge and center, bring it down, and then again, so this should be equal to the week before, and then you just bring it down just like this, so you're able to see absolutely everything. Now that we have this, we just are going to create a data validation like we've done previously. So again, I'm going to select this. You can do literally data validation, so you can go back into data, click on data validation. What we're going to do is we're going to do simpler. We're going to Control C on the data validation done previously, Control V, and then we're going to bring it down. Once this is done, here you can select and go back to 0, so I can take it off, take it off, take it off. We'll do the formatting a little bit later on. Again, I'm going to select everything here and copy for all the week because all the week are going to be the same, and I'm even copying on the extra days. Now that I have that, I'm just going to extend and merge the week here. So going on home, merge and center, I'm going to put it in the middle. I'll do the formatting again later. And then I'm going to do exactly the same as before. We are going to want to know the weekly completion. So I'm going to write it down. And then we want to know the mood this week overall. So again, the mood this week is an easier one, as we're going to do an average. For the completion, we're just going to do an equation. As you can see here, I have one cell, and then I've merged previously those cells. So I'm just going to select everything for the full week, unmerge and merge again. So we have 1 week completion percentage, and then I'm going to extend. And then for the last 3, you unselect and reselect only the 3 cells, and then merge and center. So for the equation for the weekly, it's going to be really interesting. It's going to be a bit of a more complicated one, just because, as you can see before, we have hidden the 2 cells where we had complete and incomplete. But this is where we're going to redo this equation. So the first equation is going to be the count if. Again, you can tap on the link just here on the top of the screen where you can look at the data analysis to see everything. So count if. We want to know if any of those 4 will have a criteria which is equal, so open quotation mark, equal, close quotation mark, the end, and then you're going to do goals. Obviously, I remember where I have it, so goals, and then M3. So you can verify this equation first. So here we're just going to put 1x, and then you can see this is correct. So select everything after the equal until the end. Control C, and then after that we do divided by, enter parenthesis. We want to have everything, so Control V, so everything which is done, plus everything which is undone. So I'm going to do a second time Control V, but instead of M3, I want it to take M4, and then closing the parenthesis again. And then as you can see, we've done 25%, which is right, as we have only 1. If I continue, we're going to see it increase, etc. I'm going to do 1, 2 here, and then just 1 here, so you can see the difference. And then I'm just going to extend. I'm going to go into the last cell, select the overall equation, Be careful here. You can see the equation got wrong because we haven't put a dollar sign. So as you can see here, it says 50% and here again 50%, which is not right. So why is that? This is because although the range changed correctly, the goals changed wrongly. So on the first cell, what we're going to do is we're going to go back and we're going to add dollar sign in between the columns and the just before the columns and just before the line number. So here again, I'm adding everything. And then you can just extend as needed. For the last one, we select the last equation, Control C, Control V, and then we're going to make it a percentage, and that's it. So here we begin to have absolutely everything. Again, what we're going to do, quick formatting, select this, conditional formatting, highlight cell, which are greater than 50%. So we type 50%, and I just want them as green with dark green text. Once this is done, you can see that if it's 50%, it's not highlighted. However, if it's above 50%, it is highlighted. For the moods this week, we're going to just select all of the cells. And again, we're going to merge them together. So it's a little bit nicer and it's taking the full week. And then we're going to do an average if or an average. So you can do an average if this week is equal to the week previously. What I'm going to do here is I'm just going to do an average. So I'm just going to select average here. And then I'm going to go and select all of the mood. And again, this is a number. So 557 out of 10. We can make it later on. If we don't want, we can make it something which is not a number. However, here I don't feel like it's a necessity. To avoid having it as divided, you can just click in front and add an if error. And then you open the parenthesis, have the value, comma, and then a double quotation mark, and then it will show as nothing. We extend, and then we're just going to copy the last one, Control C, and then copy the last one. And then I'm just going to take the blue one here, and then just go on the last 3 days that we have selected previously, which we know is only the extra days that we have. Once this is done, I'm going to quickly format it, and then we're going to go into the monthly task. So now that we have formatted everything, we're going to create the monthly part of the habit tracker. So I'm just going to type monthly. Again, as previously, I want to see the year, so Control C, Control V, just to have the year. And then again, like the week, what we're going to do is we're going to select all of the cells until the end. We're going to merge them together. I'm going to type on equal and then go back into the goals and select the goals. Here I can see I have only 2. If you want to have more, feel free to add more. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to go down 2. So here I can see my 2 monthly goals. Once this is done, I just have to add the data validation. Again, I'm literally just going to select the one above, Control C, and then type in front of the first cell, Control V, so I'm able to see the 2x. And then we want to see the monthly completion and the mood this month. So I'm going to just go select monthly, extend it, and format it quickly, just so it's nicer to look at. And then monthly completion. And then mood this month. For the mood this month, we're going to select everything and merge. So again, all of the lines together. There's 2 ways of doing it. Is or you do an average of all of the days, or you do an average of the mood per week. I like to do an average of all of the days. So I'm just going to select average and then select the mood rating for the full month, day by day, enter, and then you're able to see the average is a 5. Once this, we're just going to create the monthly completion. So for the monthly completion, I'm going to merge and center this part, and then we're going to create the equation. So again, the equation is quite simple. We're just going to do an equation with a count if, open parenthesis. So we want to count if any of those 2 will be equal to the goals, which is our tab called goals. So I'm just going to put goals like this. And then we want it to be $M$3. And then if we're going to verify, so to do that, we're going to do equal. We have only one. If we had two, yes, it's recognizing it. So then we can just select everything after the equal, Control C. We're going to divide it by everything. So open a parenthesis. We want everything which has a cross, plus everything which doesn't have a cross, which instead of being M3 is M4, and then we close the parenthesis right here. So here again, we have 50%, so I'm just going to turn it into a percentage right here. So as you can see here, we do have the monthly completion and the mood this month. Once this is done, I'm just going to format it quickly, and we're just going to look at the overall, create a quick journal, and then create a dashboard. So now that we have formatted absolutely everything, I'm just going to make it a little bit smaller so you can see we have our daily task, we have our weekly task, and then we have our monthly task. I want to have an overall, which will show exactly what we have done throughout the day, week, and month. So it's an average of absolutely everything. So I'm just going to type here overall, and then you can use this also for your dashboard, which is quite interesting. We select again absolutely everything, we merge and center, and then we're just going to do an average. So we want an average, again, of all of the day, so all of the weekly completion. Then we want to put a comma, and then we want an average of the daily completion and the weekly completion, and then a comma, and then the monthly completion here. Once this is done, just enter, and then we're able to see the 12%. So far, we've reached 20%. Again, if I begin to add X everywhere, it's going to grow. And then you can see if I had here, we're going to have X and X. And then on the monthly, we've done absolutely everything. So you're going to begin to see that there is some movement. More you add completion throughout your week, then you're able to see your overall increasing. What I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly format it again as we have done previously. And then something which is quite interesting, and I feel that for me is really helping me throughout my journey during the months that we have, is to have a little journals, to have a moment where at the end of the month I can reflect, or during the months I can reflect. So what I do here is I'm going to just select a few cells as you wish, merge and center, and then I'm going to do Control-C, Control-V, and then a few cells after, I'm just going to copy-paste it to have the similar pattern here. On the first one, I'm going to type journal. And this is something that I want to discuss, everything that I'm grateful for, everything that is working for me. And then I want another part where it's things to work on. So things that, for example, are not exciting me or are a little bit harder for me, I really want to know and improve on those. So I'm going to make them part of my my tasks, my habit tracker. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a little bit of formatting here, like this with white text, and then dark and white text. And then I'm just going to select a few cells, and then I'm going to click on the outside borders. Same for the one next to it, outside borders. Now, as you can see, you have not only a big habit tracker, but you are able to see absolutely everything. You have daily, weekly, monthly, and your overall. To make it nicer, I would recommend that you go into your view, and then you can take off headings, guideline, and formulas if you wish. You're able to see absolutely everything. One thing which we can do is then you can make it blank and then copy, paste, and create other months. It's actually quite easy. The only thing you would have to do is change the monthly date. So for example, let's imagine I want to create February. You click right or move or copy, create a copy, move to the end. Then this one, we're going to call it February. And then here, on the 1st, I'm not going to want it to be the 1st of January. I want it to be 0102. And then as you can see, everything updated with the month of February. So the 1st of the month is not anymore the Sunday, it's a Wednesday. This I'm just going to merge and center. And again, you can play around with it. Just make sure that you change all of the other months or make it equal to the first one, so it's easier. And whenever you create a new tab, it updates, and then you can just format it by adding the view. Once we have that, we have our goals tab, we have our monthly tab. Let me merge and center this one. And then now we're going to create a dashboard. So if you have seen my video on the pivot table, which I've attached just right here, and on creating a dashboard, you need to create all of your dashboard first and then copy all of the thing together. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back into our goals tab. We're going to go into view and add again the headings and the guideline. And then I'm going to go onto the left as much as I can. The goal is for us to add enough information right here. And then we're going to create from those information the different graphs, and then once those graphs, we're going to create a dashboard. So first I'm going to put all of the months. As you can see here, we have January. I'm just going to bring it down until December. And then here I want to see different things. So you can look at weekly track. So we're going to do week 1. And then we're going to extend for week 2, 3, 4. And then we have week 5, which for us will be our extra days. Once we have that, I also want to have a graph for the overall. So I want to have my overall mood and my overall completion. So here, and then again, we're going to put it by month because I think this is something which is going to be interesting to track. And then I'm going to extend until December. Once this is done, I'll look if I want anything else from this graph. So here for January, I want the mood. So I'm going to go into here, equal January. I want my monthly mood. So I can just select this. Here we'll be able to see. And then completion of my mood in January. We're going to go into the overall completion right here. Here for the week 1, again, you can do different graph, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to look at my completion per week. So again, here you have your week completion, or you can do here by day. I'm just going to do the weekly completion because I think this is something which is important for me, or you can do an average of those. Here we're just going to select this one here, and then again, we select and we go on the third one, fourth one where we have 0, and then the extra days equal, and then the extra days. Once you have this, you can see if you look on your formula, you will have the name of the month, January, and then C26. What I recommend is once you have done all of your tab with the different months, you can just select the one above, copy paste it, just as so. And then you just change the month. So instead of January, you put February. And then again, for this one, we have the same. I'm going to change it a little bit more. I'm going to take off this and then this and here like this. So you're able to then see, as you can see here, we have the 50%. Once this is done, then you can create a graph. So for this, we're just going to select the different here, the different cells. You're going to add insert and then insert a recommended graph. Here we will be able to see this one. I like this one because I'm able to see all of the week. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to call it the weekly tracker. And then in the color, to change it, you can just select, and then you can go into the different color. So you have here, you can choose the text, the legend option. You have the text fill, the text outline, or you can just directly go into your different color and then say what you prefer. So for example, here, the fill is orange. I don't want it to be orange. I want it to be absolutely purple. And then here, week 4 is yellow. We don't have anything on week 4 here, but whenever it appears, you can make it something else than yellow. You might want it to be of a gray color. Once this is done, we're going to put it on the side. So I'm just going to put it up. Then we're going to look at February. Let me just make it quickly. Going to add the overall mood for the month here. And then again, the completion in total, which is the overall, which is 17 for February. We are going to improve our mood. Here, so here I can see we go from a mood around 5 to a mood around 6. And then I'm going to do 2 graphs here. The first graph is going to take only the mood, and we're going to make it a pie chart. So I'm selecting all of the cells. I'm going to insert. I'm going to create this here, which is recommended chart, but next to it you have the pie. So let's select the pie chart and let's make it a nice little donut. With this donut here, obviously we have only January, February, but if you would continue, so let me write numbers, even though it's not the accurate one, you'll be able to see the different size and you'll be able to see who is taking the most space and who is not. So for example, if September is only a 1, you can see it in gray. September is not doing that good, but then you have other months which are doing great and some are doing less great. So it's quite interesting to be able to see all of that. I'm just going to delete this because obviously this should be the equation based on the months that you have. And then the second one, we're going to select all of the month, and then we're going to select the completion. And then once this is done, we're going to insert, and then we're going to insert a little graph. Here for this graph, I'm going to select a completion graph, which is quite an easy one. And then just to be nice, I might want to have it again up. You can see here like this without any line, but you're able to see the numbers within it so you can see how good you're doing. Once I have that, I will want to create my dashboard. So I'm going to select a new tab. I'm going to put it at the start, double click and rename it as dashboard. Once I have selected my dashboard and I have created my title, I'm just going to select the different trackers that I've created before. So we had the weekly tracker. I'm just going to select the graph, Control C, go back into my dashboard. Let me rename it again. I don't know why it didn't go through. And then I'm just going to Control V. Then I'm going to extend it to take the side of my title or the side of your dashboard, of your screen, depending on how big your screen is. Then I'm going to do exactly the same with my two other graphs. So we have the completion, Control C. I'm going to do it under. And then what I'm going to do is, because I want the completion and the pie chart to be next to each other, I'm going to leave a little bit space in between just after, and then go back, select my mood, Control C, and then Control V, and then here I have my dashboard. Oops, let me make a little bit here. So here I have a comprehensive dashboard based on my weekly tracker. I hope this video helped you and you're able now to see and do a habit tracker yourself. Let me know if you have any question. Hope you enjoyed this video and it helped you. Like, subscribe and comment. Let us know what else you might need help with. We are able to help you with everything and anything.